Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring the good news to the poor. He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that the captives will be released and the prisoners will be freed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God.
Beverly Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.
It's Friday afternoon, and I have Andrew Sorchini here with us. What a blessing. Andrew, thank you for being here. Those who don't know Andrew, he owns and he's in charge of Beverly Hills Precious Metals. So knowledgeable, I think maybe over 30 years of knowledge and education in precious metals. And he's kind of pretty much my number one source right now for taking care of people that want precious metals. So if you have questions about gold or silver, if you want to know where to get gold and silver, if you want to know what to do with your 401ks or your IRAs, and you have questions about all these things, Andrew and I are going to discuss it today. And we're going to hit the one big topic of, precious metals are pulling back. What does it mean? And we're going to talk about that as well, too. So Andrew, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, Bo. I'm happy to be able to spread the word.
Awesome. So all I can say is, I'm watching the charts in precious metals. My last purchase that I did with you was in, I think it was November, just when I was going to Israel, and I pretty much nailed the bottom when I purchased with you. And we've had an upcycle. The charts basically showed an upcycle going up. Precious metals went up in value into the start here, the very, very first part of February. And then we had boom, what have we talked about? Numerous times in our interviews, they hate silver and they are going to do anything and everything. When I say they, means the price manipulators are going to do anything and everything to not let silver touch or come anywhere near $25. And what happened on February 2nd or 3rd or something like that? It came to $24.50 or something. And what'd they do, Andrew?
Oh, they smacked it down to the tune of $3 an ounce. It's and you called it. You actually messaged me, and after that happened, you said that we're seeing some support now. It'll probably pull back one more time before it blasts off. And I'm starting to see a little bit of bullishness in the last couple of days for silver and gold.
Yeah. So those listening who have been on the fence, sitting on the fence, number one, that's the worst place to be, because if you're on the fence, you're basically listening to us. And again, I don't want to give anybody financial advice. I'm giving people advice in terms of godly advice. What is God's money? Haggai 2 verse 8, the silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. Now, if you feel that the craziness going on in this world is normal, then you shouldn't even be listening because there's nothing here in this channel for you. But if you think that the stuff going on in the world is messed up, if you think that, we're being fed a lot of lies, if you feel that what's going on in the world simply isn't normal, well, then maybe you should be holding God's money, silver and or gold. And so if you want to learn how to get it, Andrew can help you with that. But the point being is, if you think there's something messed up in the world, maybe you should have God's money. And if you've been sitting on the fence, I want to have you understand the importance of that, because sitting on the fence, there's no such thing as that, because you're going to say, well, I'm going to wait to see if Bo or Andrew are right about what they're saying. What's going to happen is the events, the computers, the algorithms run so quick that when this event goes down, you're going to see silver and gold multiply in price in a matter of minutes, okay? And hours, they're going to take off. And next thing you know, within a few hours, Andrew is not selling silver or gold. Why? Because He doesn't know what to buy it for. He doesn't know if he can even get it, when he's going to get it. It's just because it's supply and demand issue. So the stores will be sold out or simply closed. And so if you sat on the fence, you did one thing. You chose not to own gold and silver. Because sitting on the fence, by definition, understanding the markets, when it goes, you sitting on the fence literally says that I didn't want to participate. On the other end, if you participated and you stepped in like, I want to do something because I do feel in my heart that something's really not right, then owning precious metals is nothing but an insurance policy against government and what they're doing. That's like, do you have car insurance? Do you have health insurance? Do you have insurance? So the last question, do you have health? Do you have insurance for your finances? So, that's like a great place to start. Andrew, tell us a little bit about, what you're hearing on the streets, in terms of when you call your suppliers, your vendors. Do you have inventory right now? So answer some of those questions, please.
Yeah, absolutely. We right now at Beverly Hills Precious Metals, we've got a large inventory. The product is readily available and ready to ship. It's actually amazing because in August, September, and October of last year, you had to know somebody in order to be able to get silver and get it quickly. Everything was delayed by a couple of weeks. The premiums went up to 4 times where they're at now. And for people out there that might not know about that, a silver eagle, for example, used to always cost about $3.50 an ounce over the spot price. Well, during the end of last year, they were going for about $15 an ounce over spot price, like $15 an ounce, when silver was only $18 per ounce. So it would cost you $33 to buy 1 ounce of silver that's worth $18. But that premium isn't completely lost. And there are other assets that we put people into with much smaller premiums. But the point is, the spot price is cheap right now and the premiums are cheap. And there couldn't be a better time to get involved.
Wonderful. So if someone wanted to buy like an Eagle, for example, the spread's not like $12, $15. And I actually haven't checked recently. So what's the rough spread right now? And again, so for those who don't understand, so right now, like when I'm checking my screen here, silver's trading, the bid is $21.71. So what I've seen recently, but no, I haven't checked in the past couple of days, I haven't checked, but I like 2-3 weeks ago, I was checking. And so if someone wanted to buy like an ounce of silver, it might be $3 to $4 over spot, what I was seeing before. Is that similar right now, or is it higher, lower?
For like 1 ounce silver rounds for the lower premium silver, which before the premiums were higher, yes, it is around $3 to $4 an ounce. And
that's good right now. So because that's good because earlier, like in September of last year, I think it was like $5-6. So that's like half right now. Plus, you're buying it on sale because they just smashed silver down like $3. So it's kind of like you got a double whammy win right now. You're paying half on the premium, and you're paying half, or you're saving $3 on the price of silver right now, just because they've taken it down here on this leg here in the February. So it's kind of exciting to see that, and the spot, I think, or definitely on the coinage, because if you can get coins, that's even a great way to go. And the coins, I know for a fact that it was almost double. So they were selling, like silver was around $24, and the spread sometimes for the Eagle was another $15 to $20 on top of that. Yeah. So you're almost paying double. So on the Eagles, as an example, is the spread come down on that?
Yeah, it's more about $10 an ounce over the spot price, which I would say that the Silver Eagle is the premier product out there. Yeah. So typically going into March is when the U.S. Mint will sell out of their allotment. And when the U.S. Mint sells out of their allotment for the year, then that sends everything into a tizzy. So when that happens, which it can happen any day now, and any day from now till the end of March, then the word will spread about that. People will go to 100-ounce bars. All the 90% silver is going to dry up. And if that happens to occur during a time when the spot price is still low, like it is now, then we're going to see a big shortage, probably bigger than we saw in the fourth quarter of last year.
Wow. So all I can summarize in that little piece of a conversation was you're getting a win right now because even on the Eagles, it sounds like if they're about, from what you're saying, it's about half on the spread from what it was in September of last year. So that's fantastic. So that's a big, it's a sizable discount in the savings. And then also again, February, we're here. We're seeing a pullback right now, okay, which was expected. Okay. Silver and gold have been money for thousands of years. We've talked about this. In a Babylonian money system, that means that this world we live in, a world of monetary controls, where there's always a third party that controls our finances. In this kind of a world that we live in, you can't have gold and silver as like the main money source. So what have they done? They've manipulated gold and especially silver, okay, for generations. For generations. Because you can't, if you go back and study history, what's his name? The president, JFK, he came out with a silver certificate.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't really last long because the moment he died, they got rid of it like in a heartbeat. Why? Because you can't have gold and silver, meaning honest money, as the money of currency that we use because you can't create it to infinity. What they've done, and expand on this, Andrew, but what they've done, they've taken the money supply, they detached it with Nixon in 71, which is 50 years ago. That's, again, we talked about the Jubilee issue, but they detached it. And now they've been printing it like madmen out of thin air. So they create it out of thin air. And then we believe that it's money. And I think on your website, you did an incredible job of basically showing examples of nations and countries where their money literally devalued overnight.
Yes, it's we were talking about that before this interview, that so many countries out there have had that happen, but here in the United States, we've not seen that happen since the Civil War, when the Confederate dollars became obsolete. But in the modern times, we've seen it happen in like places like Vietnam. We've seen it happen, and we were just talking about like Ukraine. We've seen it happen in a lot of these other countries where you just wake up the next day and whatever you had in currency is worthless. And here, to your point, we used to have gold certificates and silver certificates where every single note out there was backed by physical gold and physical silver. But as you said, they had to do away with the physical backing, because when there's a finite supply of gold and silver, but the government wanted an infinite supply of dollars out there. Mm-hmm.
Well, right. Fiat by definition is a money supply that's backed by basically the faith and confidence in the government, right? Well, are you comfortable with what's going on in the world right now? What the government's doing, right? But the point being is, fiat is not attached to gold. When Nixon took us off the gold standard, it became the petrodollar, fiat money. But you're right. Initially, you could take a piece of gold to the bank, and the bank would give you paper in exchange because it was easier to break that paper apart and buy things with it and have change, where you couldn't have change with a block of gold. And that was the whole essence behind it. But the moment that they detached it from gold, they had the ability to make it to infinity, and that's what they've been doing. And we don't understand as people who live here in the United States, they simply don't understand the sudden devaluation of a currency. Currencies across the world typically have a 30 to 40-year lifespan. And then suddenly they just lose their value like overnight. And so we've seen this happen all across the world, except for the United States. So people who live here now for the past, however many years, a couple of generations go by, and you don't really realize that can actually happen to your country. Okay. But the point being is, the United States was founded under God, founded with great intent. The problem is that superseding the United States now, Andrew, there's what's called a secret little group of people that basically hide in the shadows, and they pull the strings, and they control the world that we live in right now. And all of it's not made, it's not with good intent, and biblically, and we battle not against flesh and blood, but principalities in darkness of darkness. And so they've taken this money supply and they've given it all around the world. And all the world now has this money. So it's called the world's reserve currency. But what would happen, Andrew, if and also then we have Saudi Arabia, who basically had the contract with the United States, now is got a contract with Russia, and they've just agreed to accept payment for oil in other currencies, not only the US dollar. So what would happen if the BRICS nations, Saudi Arabia, all these other countries came together and suddenly decided that they don't want the dollar and they sell it as fast as they possibly can? That would cause a massive rush of money back where? To the United States. And what would happen to the value of the dollar suddenly?
It would just implode because there's actually no value behind those dollars. So all the worthless dollars would all come back to this country, and we would be moving to tangible assets like gold and silver, and it would just be a disaster, and we're probably headed there.
Right. So, and then we talked about this in the pre-show as well, too. So think about this, right? The stock market, people like are so fixated on the stock market because their 401ks, all this finance that they have stuck in the stock market, right? And so the governments of these states, the United States here, their number one goal is to prop up and keep the markets floating. And what they just simply create money, they push it in the market to keep it floating, right? But imagine, because this is what's going to happen. Imagine the dollar losing a third of its value overnight, as an example, right? So it devalues, it loses its status as the world reserve currency. So what does that mean? It means everything priced in the US dollar suddenly gets a 1/3 haircut. So all real estate gets a sudden 30% haircut across the United States because it's all priced in the US dollar, right? And then stock markets, bonds, right? Everything takes a sudden, massive haircut overnight. And it loses its status as the world reserve currency. So therefore, other nations, like, they're going to say, oh, you want to buy our oil? That's fine. Send us some gold. Send us some silver. Send us some cryptocurrencies. But we don't want your dollar. That's what a loss of world status is as the dollar. Mm-hmm. If it's no longer a world reserve currency, because right now you can pretty much travel anywhere in the world, give them the US dollar and they'll accept it as payment. That's called the world's reserve currency. But let's say you travel to another country, to Germany, and you want to buy a car, and they'll say, sure, we'll sell you the car, but we don't want your dollar. That is what happens when should the dollar lose its status as the world reserve currency. Expand on that.
Well, what it would mean is that there's no confidence in the dollar at all. And by Saudi Arabia accepting payments for oil in other countries' currency, that's really the beginning of the end for the dollar. It is. That's truly the beginning of the end because this is what Russia and China have actually conspired to do. They're behind that. They're at the wheel of the BRICS nations that are all ganging up against the United States to really drive our dollar into the ground. So everything that you're talking about is leading to the dollar becoming worthless. We're going to have it be backed by gold or silver. People are going to need to protect themselves and have physical gold and silver. And just have it on hand as insurance, as you stated. We do have all those other insurance policies like health, life, and car insurance. But with gold and silver, we don't give up our premium every year.
Right.
So with car insurance, you have to pony up that premium year after year after year. But with gold and silver, you don't. And you can convert it back into green dollars or whatever currency you want anywhere in the world. And that's what I like best about it.
Well, I love what you just said. Anywhere in the world. See, so right now, anywhere in the world, you can take a US dollar, you can purchase whatever you want with it. That's a world reserve currency. But that's no different than gold and silver. You could take an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold anywhere in the world, and they'll accept it as payment because everybody in the world knows that gold and silver are money.
Exactly.
So it's no different. By owning precious metals, you could go anywhere in the world with them and they're accepted as payment, just like the US dollar. The only difference is the US dollar has only been around for whatever, 100 plus years versus gold and silver thousands. So the point is, there's something about to happen here with the BRICS. I'm telling you, if what I do, I study patterns and time. Okay. So think about this. Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies. And within what I've noticed is when there's a biblical event that happens, the manifestation of it, the net result manifests within 2 years. So with the death of Ginsburg, she died in September of 2020. Within 2 years, less than 2 years, it was June of 2021, last June, or 2022, was within 2 years, we had the overturning of last year was Roe v. Wade. Yeah, it was last year. So within 2 years, Roe v. Wade was overturned. We had the bond debacle, the China bond, Evergrande bond debacle, which happened in 2021, September. Within 2 years, that cycle is indicating that the China stock market is going to literally implode by this summer. Then the bigger issue is the US dollar. Okay. Nixon took us off the gold standard in 71. And then 50 years to the precise day, Kabul fell on the 15th of August, 2021. 2 years is this August. I'm telling you, by the time this summer hits, the US dollar will have collapsed. It will have suddenly lost 30-ish% of its value, and it will lose its status as the world reserve currency. From the charting patterns that I'm looking at, we're having a final little pullback right here, which is nothing but a blessing. You've got inventory, and Andrew has inventory. The dealers have inventory, and the spread on the premiums is sizably 50% less right now from what I'm hearing. So I'm telling you, this is a really incredible opportunity, final opportunity as I would look at it right now with regard to the charts, because something big's about to go down. From another biblical standpoint, we've got feasts coming out. We got Purim coming up in like 2-3 weeks from now. If you study the story of Purim, it's a very important time point for God and what happened biblically. Then one of the biggest time points coming up is Passover, and that's like the first April 6th, the first week of April. So what I've noticed since 2020 began is that very powerful and important things have happened on feasts. And so we've got Purim and specifically Passover showing up here in April. I'm telling you, if there's ever a time to act, there's a small little window right now of opportunity, in terms of just doing something. And I know also a lot of people have reached out to me or got a lot of emails, and they ask, hey, I have a 401k or an IRA, and how does that work? And I know nothing about that. Like, I really don't. And so anytime I'll always pass the questions off to you, Andrew, but can you explain to people, if they do, so it's more simple if they have like just money in the bank, because they can just make a phone call to you and send a wire. We talked about that in prior interviews. But what are the stepping stones that people have to, or the hurdles that people might have if they have like a retirement account? How does that work, and how long does that process take?
Okay, it's actually a quite simple process. So I'll start with IRAs. So if you have an IRA, say if it's with Schwab or Fidelity, and whether it be traditional or Roth, those can be rolled into a precious metals IRA. And it's just a 5-page application followed by a 3-page transfer form that we collect your information and we pre-fill out the form. And then we submit it to the custodian that we use. And it just transfers from your existing IRA custodian to the one that we use, and as cash. So you would liquidate whatever assets you're holding within that IRA.
Do you pay taxes on that?
It is not a taxable event. It's as a rollover, it is not a taxable event. And it's a great question because a lot of the time people will ask their broker and they'll say, yeah, I'm thinking about taking the funds from your firm and putting it into a precious metals IRA. And I understand that it's not a taxable event. And your broker oftentimes will tell you, yes, it is a taxable event. And they just want to put a hurdle in front of you that might prevent you from transferring the IRA away from them to another firm. But I'm telling you that you have 60 days to move it from one place to another before it becomes a taxable event. And for IRAs, we can usually do it in anywhere from 5 days to 2 weeks. So we've never had anybody that got taxed on it because it took too long. So
okay.
Yeah, 401ks are even faster. So if you had a job at a place where they contributed and now you have a 401k, you no longer work there and you just don't really think about it too much. That 401k could be rolled into an IRA that holds physical gold and silver. And this isn't paper. These are not certificates. This is actual gold and silver in a lockbox in a depository with your name on it. And if you wanted to, you could have it delivered to your home or office, but that would be a taxable event. So, but if the whole world is going down the tubes and it's a true emergency, then you wouldn't be worried about taxes. You would just say, send me my gold and silver and it can be sent to you. But it actually does exist for your account with your name on it.
Okay, so if someone had it, they would reach out to you, and then if it was X amount of whatever the dollar amount was, could they say to you, "I would like maybe these coins or those coins," so they can pick and choose certain coins, and so you would help them with that? Is that how that works?
Exactly, and that's a great question. I don't think anybody's ever asked that before, but it's such a great question. So at the end of last year, people that had set up precious metals IRAs with us for the past few years, they have to take a distribution. It's a mandatory distribution. So you're used to paying into your retirement accounts all year, but then later in your life, you have to take a small amount out each year. Well, some people don't really need the money, but they're still required to do it. So they could have specific gold or silver coins sent to them. So the way it works is the IRA custodian could say, hey, client John Smith, you need to take a $8,000 distribution this year. It's called an RMD. And do you want cash or do you want coins? And if you say, I want cash, then they'll tell you, call the broker, Beverly Hills Precious Metals, and they will make a purchase of your gold or silver of a big enough size to cover the amount that you need to take a distribution for. And then you can request a check, or you can just have the metals sent directly to you. And it's very simple.
Okay. And also when they are making the initial transaction of purchasing the metals as well too, if they wanted an allocation of a certain coin, or example, like I think you were saying that you just came out with some special coin that you had as well too. Or do all coins qualify for that, or can you only do certain coins? Do certain coins only qualify for IRAs or IRAs? How does that work?
Another great question that never gets asked. But that's a great question. So for a precious metals IRA, there's certain gold and silver that you can have in there. And here's an example. This is the 2-ounce General Flynn silver coin. It's one that we've had minted. It has 2 ounces of 0.999 pure silver. I gave one to you when we were in Nashville. I believe it was last month. And these are IRA acceptable. So when we're talking about retirement funds, there are strict guidelines. It needs to be COMEX approved silver. So you just can't have any silver in there. It needs to be high purity silver. And that's what this coin is. And you can have silver eagles in there. You can have gold bars, 100-ounce silver bars. But you cannot have like 90% silver, what they call junk silver, or Morgan and Peace silver dollars, which those are big sellers. Those are great assets, but you cannot have those in a precious metals IRA. But there's a couple thousand products to choose from. And usually we direct people into products that not only go up in value when gold and silver go up, but also have some collector value that could also have a second way to go up in value.
Okay. And that's what I was saying, because if you're going to buy precious metals, it's kind of fun to actually, because there's so many there's a lot of really fun coins out there, a lot of fun bars out there. There's, there's some beautiful things you can buy. And it's also because at the end of the day, you want to pull some of those out. It's, you're not always going to have that money sitting in there. You want to take distributions every so often as well, too, especially things that are coming. Because when precious metals skyrocket in price, when they do skyrocket in price, when they value, like you say, you have to pull out $8,000, it's at the current price of the metal, right? So if precious metals go up sizably in price, then you're only maybe have to liquidate a few coins or something like that, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And ideally, that's what would happen. Since this is a retirement account, if you give it years and you're not focused on what the price per ounce of gold or silver does or doesn't do, you give it long enough, it's going to do big things. So that could be a great benefit.
Cool. And so from a cycle standpoint, and biblically, what I've seen coming here very in the near future, I'm telling you, Andrew's got our charts. I send Andrew my updates. Whenever I write an update, I always text Andrew. I send him over the update. He's seen the updates. He knows from a cycle standpoint what's coming. And so there's a very awesome opportunity coming in here in the very near future to do something. That's all I'm going to say. Andrew knows the pattern of the cycle that's coming. And there's kind of like D-Day coming. There's a small window coming to put some positions on. And after that, when metals take off, this is what I can't emphasize enough. When metals take off, and I mean they literally skyrocket and go straight up, okay? That's what's going to happen. They're going to go straight up. The problem, and then please expand on this, Andrew, but the problem that Andrew's going to have, and I just have to emphasize this, Andrew's not going to be able to source silver because you just have one or two or several billionaires come in and they buy whatever's available, and that's it. It's not like you can just create silver out of thin air like you do the US dollar or the money system. And so when it's sold out, it's sold out. And on top of that, even if it may not be fully sold out for a window, the prices are jumping right every hour, and who knows what to sell anything for. So I'm just telling you, we're doing this interview intentionally to just give you an opportunity to listen to something different. And if you feel in your heart that everything, our world is not right, if you feel that you would like to maybe buy some insurance for yourself and your family, you've got a window of opportunity right here. Because I'm telling you, when this stuff goes down, when the BRICS nations attack the dollar, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The dollar is going to lose its status as the world reserve currency. You're going to do the shoulda, woulda, coulda. But you didn't. If you really truly didn't. So don't be, if you have the means, this is for the people that have the means. Okay. Some people don't have the means. And we understand that's like, don't worry, God's got you. There's blessings are coming, going to be enormous, and people around you will be taken care of. We're going to be all taking care of one another. That's what's coming. Okay. But the point is, when this event goes down, Andrew, when silver jumps double, triple in a single day, what are you going to do in your office? Like, what are you going to do when it keeps jumping every few minutes in price? What are you going to do?
I just have to sit back for a moment and just say, all right, this is insanity trying to make sense of this market. Just got to call it a day, pack up the car, and head to the beach.
Yeah, we've talked about that, right? And the problem is, it's not even for a single day, because tomorrow, and then the next day, craziness has happened. So the markets might be shut down for a few days. We don't know. I'm just telling you, and I would expect that. I would expect that when something like that happens, the markets are probably like after 9/11, right? It was for, I think, 4 or 5 days. Everything was shut down, Andrew. I remember that. Yep. Literally 9/11 happened, and then there's no trading. The stock markets everything was closed for a solid, I know could have been 3 days, but I think it might have been a week. It was something like that, when then finally they opened things back up again. And when they open things back up again, you might be able to get some silver, but it might be at crazy high prices. And then the spread on top of that, we talked about spread. Right now on an Eagle, it might be $10 spread. In the summertime, last summer, it was like $20. So right now it's 50% off. If you see silver go to $60 in a single day, that spread's going to go maybe $40, $50. So silver might be priced at $60 an ounce, but the spread might be another 60.
Exactly.
So talk about on an uncertain market, because that's what it is it becomes an uncertain market. What happens to spreads?
They get ridiculous, and it ends up being the opposite of what you think it should be. Here's an example. In March of 2020, when LA County here in California was the first county or first city to issue the stay-at-home orders for COVID, and all the markets tanked after that because it was the rumor was spreading that other cities were going to follow suit, and they did. And for a few days, cryptocurrency tanked. I remember Bitcoin went down to like $3,000 or $4,000. I remember silver went down from like $17 to like $13 an ounce. I remember gold dropped to like, I feel like it was a few $100s an ounce. And I've got this doctor client of mine that's done millions of dollars with us. And he called me and he said, Andrew, this is a moment that I've been waiting for, that I thought it would never happen. I'm ready to buy a few hundred gold eagles, 1 ounce gold eagles. He goes, what's your price? And the price that I offered him, offered them to him for, was almost the same price as what it cost before it dropped $300 an ounce. And he said, all right, look, I'm an educated person, but this isn't making sense to me. How could something drop by $300 an ounce and you're telling me it costs almost the same as it did before the drop? And it's exactly what you said. Premiums. Everybody had the same idea as the doctor. They wanted to jump in because they had one more opportunity to buy and buy at a deep discount, but that discount wasn't there. And he said, well, then I just won't do it then. I'll just wait. And he goes, what happens if it goes up $300? I go, well, the premium will likely go down. He goes, why would it go down if it goes up? I go, because the people that still have inventory bought it at a much higher rate. And if the price of gold goes up near that rate, they could afford to sell it for the normal premium. But right now, when it's lower, they cannot. And it was difficult.
I also heard, I heard at that time too, because that same time window you're talking about, I didn't know you at the time, but basically what I heard was, and actually what I was personally seeing as well too, because I made some decent purchases for some friends I was helping as well too, and it took 3, 4, 5 weeks to receive delivery because everybody immediately got sold out. Let's talk about that.
Oh, and that's a normal thing. When there's a big crunch, like there was in August, September, and October of last year, the wait times were only about 2 or 3 weeks at that time. But what Bo's talking about, when the shutdown started around March of 2020, yes, it was like 4 or 5 weeks. It could be even longer. And to me, that's a normal part of the business. But for people out there, you want to have somebody that's in the precious metals business on your side. That's a friend you want to have. And you can't just find that friend anywhere, because there's a lot of bad people in this industry, just like there are in every industry out there.
Right.
So it's a big benefit if you listen to Bo Polny and the Gold 2020 forecast regularly, and if you believe in what Bo talks about, then trust me that he's vetted anything that he might recommend in any way out there, and it's safe. So that's like having the friend. I could be the friend that people would be looking for, because when it dries up and everybody goes to the beach because they don't know what to sell it for, trust me, it still exists. It's just we want to pick and choose who we can get it to. And that's usually somebody that we have a previous relationship with. And that's just how it works. But it doesn't take much to blow out this entire market. If Elon Musk tweeted today saying that I'm going to buy $5 billion worth of gold, gold would just blast off. And I reference that because the other day he posted the new CEO of Twitter and showed a picture of a dog, and Dogecoin shot up right after that. He doesn't have to do much to move the market.
Well, and it's fun to talk, and it's fun to have a little comedy. The problem is that this financial system is on the brink of craziness. And we're about to step into something that we've never witnessed before. A collapse of a world's reserve currency. Like, this is crazy. I don't know what that really means. I've never, no one's witnessed it. We've not witnessed this, but something crazy is about to happen. And so, all I can say is that, we have an opportunity. Andrew's got the charts. I've shown Andrew the chart. He got them. February is an opportunity. There's a massive market event coming here soon. February is going to bring something crazy, I believe, in the markets. So watch February. Just telling you, watch February. Something big's about to happen here in February. That leads us into March, and March is going to be crazier than February. And then April, I think we're going to be like bewildered at what's going on in our world. So I'm just telling you, it's such a pleasure to have Andrew here, on our show. I personally have met him. I've known Andrew for at least over a year now. And I honestly, of all the emails I get, communications I get, I don't get anything negative about Andrew. Honestly, the only, which is reasonable, that is sometimes hard to get a hold of. But once Andrew's working with somebody, he always has followed through. That's the essence. He's always followed through. And like you said, your best friend, could be a precious metals dealer. My point is, you could send Andrew $1 million, 10 million, right? But if you're sending it to some dealer and he can't deliver, or he says he can get it to you, it's like sending cryptocurrencies, right? You click a button and you send the cryptocurrency, and you're sweating until you see it appear in the wallet, right? But that time in between is like, you're sweating because, like, did I do something wrong? Is it showing up? So until you have possession of it, you don't have it. That's the essence of gold and silver. Until it's in your hand, until you have possession of it, verified possession of it, you don't have it. So you can make all the payments you want, but until it's arrived, until it's delivered, until it's in the storage facility, if it's in a 401k or an IRA, until it's delivered to that facility, you don't have it. So the point is, you have to use somebody that you honestly can trust. And so all I know is that many wonderful people talk about Andrew and the great service, that his company provides. And I can just leave it at that. And we know historical days are coming. Andrew, finish off anything you wanted to add.
Well, I think it would be great to let people know exactly how to reach me. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to the website, bh-pm.com. And on the homepage, it will say General Flynn's gold buyer of choice. We've got some great data on there, some videos. Take a look at that. But most importantly, start with the form that's there. Put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. When it says, how did you learn about us? Say, Bo Polny sent me, or Gold 2020 forecast, or just Bo, and we'll know how you found us. And there's a portion there where you can put a couple sentences about yourself. And you might want to say, I've got an old 401k and I would like to learn how to transfer that into a precious metals IRA. Or some people say, I bought gold and silver a few years ago, and I just want you to assess what I have and let me know if you feel that this is the right type of gold and silver to have. So anything that's on your mind, put it there. Usually we get with you in about 24 to 48 hours. If it's a Friday, we may not get back with you until Monday or Tuesday.
Well, Andrew, thank you for being here. I appreciate everything, that you do. And thank you for just giving people, some basically honest service. No, I appreciate that. And it's always, nice when we go on the Clay Clark tours to say hi to you and your wife. And so what a pleasure. So anyways, God bless you, your wife, your family, and everything that you're doing this year. So thank you so much.